Hello and welcome to this video series where we're checking out submissions to the Dungeoncrawler Gamejam of 2023. This time we will have a look at Binary Eclipse by Z5 or Zez5 or ZEZ5 or whatever you want to call or how to pronounce that, by Forrest Trahan. And before we jump into the game, I will quickly go over the description here. Made in a week for Dungeoncrawler Jam 2023 with the theme Duality. WSD moves, mouse to navigate, menus, attacks, rest, level, etc. Can you make it past floor 7? Code, graphics and audio, alright. Everything else handmade by me, besides of the font, default UI and sample normal map. I'm not quite sure, I think that's regarding the dungeon textures. So, especially the music seems to be made by the creator here, which is very cool. So, this is not my very first impression of the game, because I already recorded, but I decided to re-record it in order to show you something in a better way and maybe a bit more compact, and maybe we get further than I did last time. So, let's have a look. And here we are in the main menu, which is looking quite cool. You have the volume settings in the top right, which is also something which is nice to have. They are not saved upon restart, but still fine. Also, we've got a tutorial, which is nice. And here we are. Move with WASD. Okay. The next one is enemies come in light and dark. Attacking an enemy with its opposite element will deal bonus damage. So we've got a dark element here, a dark enemy here, and we press the light attack button. Unfortunately, there's no hit feedback. And maybe you just spotted an issue I have with the game, or the main issue I have with the game. Enemies can also attack with light and dark. Attacking with the opposite type will parry, reducing incoming damage. So just keep an eye on my movement and maybe you see the issue. Maybe not. No, you probably couldn't spot that. But okay, so now you could maybe. So the perspective is not the issue. You can see that on the left side, so this side now, actually has a bit of wall visible, so you can perfectly see that this left of us it's blocked and right of us it's open. You cannot sidestep though, but yeah, the perspective is fine. You don't see the floor, but you don't really need to in that game anyway, so that's fine. The issue here is not the orientation, but the navigation. Usually in games with continuous smooth movement is that the games are not queuing up commands, and then it feels like it's always ignoring, like every third command or so your input into the game is basically cut off and ignored, because you're giving it, like if I move forward and turn right, then the right turn is cut off, and it's just ignored, and then you basically feel like if you have to wait every single step before you can enter the new key, and this is just getting annoying very quickly. This game is a rare case of having the opposite problem. This game doesn't queue up unlimited amount of keys, I think, but it does check the keys so frequently that it's very hard to just input one key. And in order to show you that, I actually made sure to have another camera here. Sorry for the quality of that camera. That's a crappy Logitech something camera, 920 or whatever they're called. So yeah, you can see my hand here. I will use the right hand so that I'm not blocking the camera here. So right, WASD, backward, forward, and this is a German keyboard, but that shouldn't matter in this case. So when I press forward, just briefly, like this, it works perfectly fine. Back, very briefly, it works fine. But the moment when I press the button just a little bit longer, this back move was already 2 tiles. Forward, that was 2 tiles. Backward, 2 tiles. Forward, 2 tiles. I'm turning around 2 times. 2 turns. 2 turns. 2 turns. 2 turns. 2 turns. And so this is really... You have to be very brief with your key presses, otherwise you will run into issues. And so I will keep... I mean, the only thing I am blocking here now is the dark attack thing, and I mean only clicking on it. So I will keep that active for just a bit, so that you can get an idea about how you basically need to play that. So we are getting to floor 1 now. So I basically need to play like this, because if I... there's an enemy. The combat, by the way, is turn-based, so that's cool. So yeah, not like everyone is attacking at the same time. And now we have a level up. You can see our stats in the top left. So we have, like, we need 8 XP to level up, HP 14.5 of 20 and so on. And we can, on the level up, we can decide whether we want to strengthen the dark side or the light side. Let me just resize that a tiny bit, like this. And one of the most important things I noticed is to have more hit points. So I will pick this one, and then we will continue checking the dungeon. By the way, there's also a rest button in the middle, and if you click on that, you can see that our HP will increase. And that's basically the second big issue in the game. So you're basically just running around and clearing everything, killing all enemies, right? And you can see now I'm holding my keys over the fingers over the keys, but now I just accidentally turned twice and ended up facing the wall again. So that one is dead. So you basically should heal after every enemy we're getting attacked. Now the issue is not the healing itself. That's nice to have, but the issue is that you're healing so much that basically you cannot die. I think we are being attacked by 2 directions. And I turned incorrectly. Alright. So now I'm just going to wait until the enemies are there. And rest. I will increase the sound volume just a little bit so that you have a better idea about that. So the sound effect is okay, but it's not great because it's cut off. It does, and it's cut. And arrest. So I need to walk very carefully and accidentally turns 2 times. And turn 2 times accidentally. Forward, alright. And so, but now to demonstrate, we are getting attacked by this guy now, right? And we are at 21.6. And now I will just rest within fight. 24, 24, and of course we can't drop further down now. Let's increase the HP again. We are now at 30, and this should be enough for the rest, I think. But the HP is extremely important because of basically a third issue in the game. When you are getting into a new level, we are now in level 3, I think the levels are randomly generated, and you're basically placed somewhere in there. And in the worst case, you have 4 enemies or so next to you, and they are all shooting at you at the same moment. So the hardest part of every level seems to be, and I didn't make it past 3 before, didn't play longer. The hardest part seems to be that you need to get out of the first bunch of enemies, because after that you will just collect them basically. Because you can just rest during fights, and the resting is enough to handle the damage of maybe 2 enemies or so. But after that, you will struggle. So yeah, I'm not sure if that was everything. Of course, you should kill everyone so that you get more level ups. But let's say that's all now. So overall, I think the aesthetics. One second. This one is dead. Yeah, now you can see, I mean, in this case, we should have walked towards the wall so that we can only be attacked by 2 enemies. So now I'm resting. A light attack. And now we're resting up. And now we basically cannot die anymore. Because we can always just rest more than they do damage. So the aesthetically, I think the game is nice. It's like all this digital, very modern, futuristic, like a little bit like Tron, but not just as minimalistic. So that looks cool and everything fits together here. But and the sound, the music is nice. The sound effects are, I mean, there is probably just 2 sound effects. Hitting the enemy and being hit. They are not too great. Yeah. The issue though is the a couple of these like mechanics, they would need to be adjusted. I think the movement is actually super easy to fix because you just need to increase the basically the checking time or the queuing time, that you are not queuing up the second command that quickly, or maybe check what the last command was so that you can do a normal turn without immediately initiating a second turn. I think that should be an easy thing to fix. Then the other issue, I would say that resting should not heal more than the enemies do damage. Because that basically destroys all the balance. And this would then introduce a new issue, or make an issue worse, that you are starting in the middle of a horde of enemies and you would immediately die. That would mean that you need to start somewhere in like a dead end or something. So that you can only be attacked by 1 enemy when you are getting into the level. I mean, after that it's on you. Like, start in a position like that, and that should be fine. And now I accidentally turned around again. That was on me. And then, of course, you would need to make this interesting in some way by having different types of enemies or something, so that not all fights are the same. I mean, yes, we have dark and light, but essentially you're just clicking on the button the same way until they are dead. Maybe there's something more in a deeper levels. I haven't seen that yet. And yes, this is more of an arcade game, right? I mean, if this was... we were progressing through a story and so on, you could say, okay, all that is not super important if the story and so on was nice. But that's not something which exists in the game. So you're just going from level to level and kill as many enemies as possible. Basically, that's your goal in the game. And I accidentally turned to one. Well, let's just heal up. I think we are being attacked by multiple enemies, so... Yeah, and attack. And heal. And attack. That. And heal. And attack. And heal. Here. And I think I can disable that. Yeah, so the idea is just to kill as many enemies as possible until you die. So it's all about basically a high score. How far do you get? Because also, once you die, you cannot restart the level. You will start again from level 1 basically. And that means that the controls are and the combat gameplay is the core of the game, and that basically has to work to an extent that it's really fun to play, because there is nothing else in the game. Which would be fine, right? I mean, you can do an arcade game, which can be fun. But unfortunately, the game is lacking a bit in that regard. And rest. Attack. And rest. Attack. Might be necessary on the next level up to increase the damage or something. Oh, okay, now we've got 2 enemies around us. But again, this shouldn't be a problem. 2 enemies are fine. Our resting is stronger than 2 enemies at the same time. Okay, now we can decide what we want to increase again. We can increase the resting HP actually by that 5%. Which is probably more useful than the base attack, because this is basically making us invulnerable. I don't think this is a ranged attack. Is it? No, it's not. Alright, rest. There was another enemy inside this enemy. And this one was dark, so that's why it was not dying right away. Alright. And more enemies. Rest. We seem to get more XP. So the enemies seem to get stronger, and we are getting more XP, if I see that correctly. Enemy is attacking us around the corner, I think. And rest. Now we need 1000 XP to level up, so that's quite a bit. We might not even get another level up anymore. Alright. Mm-hmm. Healing, light attack. Okay. And resting. So you can see basically we're just clicking this one button until we are at an XP level, which is a bit critical, and then we are pushing the rest button until we are back up. And that's all there is, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're at 183. Ah no, we are level 4. This is still level 3. Now it's level 4. And you can see we are in the middle of a room, so this can be very dangerous very quickly. We need to find a spot which is... Actually, let's just progress here and see if we find something which is different. Okay, now we need to fight our way out. Mm-hmm. And another one. And it's resting. Yeah, they're doing some serious damage. So we can only press that like 3 times or so. But we are still healing more than 2 enemies are doing damage. Alright. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I find the exit, I will take that, even though that's not a great idea. I mean, in this kind of game type, you should kill everything to get the maximum level, but... Ah. No. Back. Here. And attack. And here. And attack. And here. And attack. There might also be... Oh, wrong attack actually. There might also be some final boss or something, which we might not be able to beat then, because we didn't get enough level ups till then. I don't know. But then again, maybe we can also just rest for that enemy then. Now the rest button is also flipping me around for some reason. And there's another enemy. Okay, so now we have got 2 enemies around us. And there might be a 3rd enemy coming soon. So this is now a very bad situation. 18-7, 18-4. Yeah, okay, we are dead. We can't get out anymore. So yeah, I shouldn't have gone further to see, like, find the exit. You basically need to pull them one by one to one situation, to a spot where you can have 2 enemies at most, and then you just kill them one by one. So yeah, if you do that carefully, you basically cannot die. But if you like try to go deeper and deeper, obviously, and get into situations like this, then you obviously will get problems. Now you can't rest against the attacks anymore, and that one, I mean, I could have attacked, but yeah, that's binary Eclipse. As I mentioned, the perspective is fine. The controls are probably easy to adjust, but right now they don't feel nice because they are just too quickly queuing up stuff. Regarding the content, that's probably fine in terms of how many levels there are, but and of course you can see now we are at level 1, right? So regarding the content, in terms of how many levels there are, that's fine, but you should have like different types of enemies, not just these 2. So then somehow to make the combat more interesting, because just clicking this one button is not super deep, and it's also no action combat or anything like that. So and I wouldn't say that if there was other content in the game. If there was like a lot of story or so, then okay, you could argue that the action or the combat is not the main part. But in this game it clearly is. It's kind of an arcade game, so it needs to focus on a good combat and a good controls. And unfortunately that's not really a thing. The art, I think, for the theme, it works very well. The dungeon art is cool. And the monster art also fits well. The music is probably the nicest thing I would say about the game. I really like the music. And yeah, sound effects are rather rough. They feel like they're cut off. And of course there are also only, I think, 2 or 3 sound effects in the game. So yeah, the theme implementation is also fine. I mean, obviously it's light and dark, so that's fine. Overall, I think this can be a game which can be made interesting with a little bit or very little effort, let's put it like that. But yes, I mean, this was done in a jam environment, just to remind you. So the developer might have just run out of time. But I think if he had one more day or so, then there could have been like some challenging gameplay, like a different enemy type, fix the movement and starting position in the level, and nerf the rest. With the rest, I mean resting option here. Then I think that could be a very nice game. That's a binary Eclipse, and maybe the developer will also do some updates, I don't know, but you can find the game down in the video description and maybe also with the updates. And if you're interested in seeing other entries for this jam or videos of that, then you can find a playlist down there with all the other videos I did so far. And you can also subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the new videos I publish. And with that, thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.